So a lot of relationships turn into something that nobody planned for. Yep. Often what occurs is that you're running a household, you're looking after the kids, and sometimes it feels like roommates instead of lovers. I work with a lot of men who've been successful in business. They're great providers, they know how to manifest. Yet what happens is they often come to me and say that I'm in love with my wife, but we've lost the spark, we've lost the juice. And it's not that the marriage is broken, it's just that the key foundations of keeping a juicy, healthy marriage aren't there anymore. And when I teach these 3 key things to my clients, everything changes every time. And that's the invitation for you. Yeah, most men in relationship don't understand that relationship goes through different phases. So they're not sitting in a place of crisis. It's just they've gone from the phase of marriage, of fun, of play, then to responsibility, often parenthood, responsibility, mortgage. Yep. And what occurs is it's not some huge divide. It's just that in those different phases, they forget about the spark. They forget about the attraction with their beloved. And often when I work with them, again, it's not that the marriage is broken. It's just in those phases, they've lost that spark and want to know how to reignite it. And that's what I teach the men I work with. The 3 key things in this video I want to show you as a man is how to simply and quickly reignite that spark. And every man I've worked with, every couple I've worked with, these 3 things work. The first is, what you need to realize is the feminine is looking for presence and eye contact. If you're distracted, if you're coming home on your phone, thinking about work, worried about the money, the feminine doesn't feel safe. The feminine doesn't feel that she's valued and seen. So eye contact is one of the key things consistently, not just one conversation. How often did you make proper eye contact with your beloved in the last week? And if you do nothing else but tomorrow, just make eye contact when you're communicating. Often I'm asked, how come such a simple technique can be so effective? The first thing you have to realize is the feminine communicates how she feels, not what she thinks. So you might be hearing you haven't done the chores, you might be hearing that you're not showing up, whatever the conversation. What she's really saying is, I don't feel seen, I don't feel heard, and I don't feel valued. And the fastest way for her to physically and energetically feel seen is eye contact from a place of presence. And often it's overlooked because we want to complicate it. We've got to do marriage counselling, we've got to do therapy. Yeah, if you want to regulate the feminine, if you want her to settle down and be able to lean back into her feminine energy, just notice. Just notice her beauty. Notice her. That's what she's looking for. Yeah, often people go to therapy, podcasts, read books, listen to things, yet still don't create the change. Because what they're attempting to do is to do it intellectually. Sustainable change, 85% of change comes from the neck down. So understanding something about your marriage and about life is the booby prize. Conceptual learning doesn't create change, it creates information. And so the power of eye contact is what you're actually doing is you're allowing an experiential shift. And what happens is the energetic exchange, the nervous system exchange, yet can be felt. Remember, the feminine feels. She doesn't want to think. And so again, it bewilders people because of its simplicity, yet it also is the power of what we're dealing with here is experiential change, not conceptual change. So the second teaching is really the ability to have non-sexual touch. One of the biggest things that happens in relationship, again, as I've described, these phases of relationship. When a woman has a newborn baby or children, yeah, often what happens is intimacy and sexuality don't become a priority. And couples can start to lose that intimacy. And often for men, particularly younger men, the driver of their testosterone, their dopamine, they're looking for sexual contact, they're looking for the release, they're looking for that outcome in life, whether it's sex, whether it's adventure. And of course, when that starts to slow down, the masculine starts to get very anxious, can become quite possessive and quite demanding, which pushes the feminine away even more. And of course, because of that energy of the masculine, any physical touch, the implied and explicit message is, now let's have sex. And for the feminine, it's the least attractive thing. I'm not just some object that you get to turn on and off. And so if you can understand that's what's happening psychologically, and energetically, and realize that, can I move towards my beloved with physical touch without any agenda, without any demand, without any need for sex? And when the feminine gets that experience, she feels safe. When the feminine feels safe, the oxytocin kicks in. The paradox is, if that's a consistent, authentic experience, and the oxytocin starts to rise for the feminine, she actually becomes more attractive and more aroused, but not in that moment, and not if there's a hidden agenda. And it's very hard for men because they go into fear around touch, sexuality, and their agenda. And again, as simple as it sounds, it works. The third key to this is that the feminine is looking for appreciation. So the masculine and feminine energy are very different. And whilst it's in both of us, most of the clients I work with, the men are more in their masculine energy and their beloved is more in her feminine energy. Now, if you want the masculine energy to step up, to improve, to be a better version of himself, the masculine energy wants feedback. Give me feedback. What am I doing wrong? How can I improve? Think of a sporting analogy. If you've ever been on a sporting team, the coach or the team are often giving players feedback. This is how you catch the ball. This is how you make the tackle. And there's something in the energy of the masculine that wants to deliver that and improve. It's the opposite for the feminine. The feminine doesn't want feedback. The feminine wants words of appreciation. The feminine wants to feel seen. And so the most simple thing you can do as a man is to give consistent, explicit appreciation. I really appreciate that you got all the lunches ready before I dropped the kids off at school. I really appreciate that you're working full time as well as me, yet somehow you seem to be able to have dinner ready. I really appreciate that you organise all of the food for the house. What occurs, again, we can do that from a psychological level, from an energetic level and a nervous system level. Again, anyone who has daughters, if you want your daughter to rise up and be a greater version of herself, don't focus on what's wrong. Appreciate what's amazing. I really appreciate that you're so committed to your netball team that you show up every time. She will step up, as opposed to, why didn't you go to training last week? And so there's lots of neuroscience behind this, but if you can really, genuinely notice and specifically appreciate the feminine, you will create a much more intimate relationship. So if there's one thing I can offer you, on the back of today, is remember the beautiful woman that you married and committed to. And if you can remember that, then my invitation to you is just today, do one explicit appreciation of her, of something she's done, and just appreciate her smile, her beauty, her earrings, her shoes. Like, notice, just do that one thing. If you do nothing else, and then please, I'd love to hear from you as to what changed. Then in the notes below, we've created a link. We've recently run a masterclass. It'll give you a deeper understanding of this. And part of the programs we run are to support men to create juicy, exciting marriages.